Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Okay guys, got a post here from All in Crypto who did an interview with Dovu, with Irfan Watkins from Dovu. And I thought I'd share this with you because it's exactly what I've been saying to you for a while now, but here's the confirmation. So here's just something that was said as a post. We migrated from Ethereum in 2023 after building on Hedera for years already. What we're doing just isn't feasible on other chains. For hundreds of millions of Dovu transactions, we need hashgraph's unparalleled efficiency and predictable HBAR fees. Okay, so part of the interview that I really wanted to emphasize here in this clip, he was talking about how obviously, they started on Ethereum, and he said, trying to do a carbon project on Ethereum is laughable. That was literally his words verbatim. I'm not joking at all. He said it was laughable trying to do a carbon project on Ethereum. And so, as I said here, they needed something where, it can scale, efficient, predictable fees, which is why they picked Hedera. And they said, when they looked at Hedera's, carbon footprint in terms of doing the transactions and stuff, it was just so low that it just made sense. It was, barely anything. So it was the obvious choice. And so, what I've said to you before in terms of Ethereum, this is just showing you exactly what I've meant. And this is why, when I've told you before, I'm not just saying this because I'm someone who's used Ethereum. Let me just be clear here. I'm not a maxi, right, of any crypto. I'm not a maxi of HBAR. I'm not a maxi of XRP. I'm not a maxi of any crypto. I've used Ethereum. So when I talk about Ethereum, I'm not talking just as someone who just doesn't like Ethereum or anything like that. I'm not being tribal or anything. I'm someone who's actually used the network. I've utilized Ethereum, and it wasn't a fun experience. Now, I am still on Ethereum as it stands, only because there's still some projects that I have cryptos in that are on Ethereum. And so what Irfan's basically saying here is, obviously, he created a carbon project on Ethereum, but the reason why he did that is because Ethereum was the only big project out there, the only big network out there at the time to do these types of projects at all, right? And this is what I meant when I said first mover advantage, right? So Ethereum was the second or third cryptocurrency in existence, and it was the first one of its kind to bring out smart contracts, right? And so Ethereum, it was the first of its kind in that regard. So again, I've got nothing against Ethereum. It brought smart contracts to us, so that's great. That's been a huge innovation in terms of crypto technology. But now you've just got networks that can do this stuff way better. I don't want to keep saying a broken record because we all know the story. Ethereum is slow, it gets congested, it's costly. It gets to a point at times where your transactions don't even go through, even though you've paid the gas fee. It's crazy. And Ethereum, I'll tell you now, it's not sustainable. It's not. It'll have the first mover advantage, which is why it's still got, a good amount of users there. But as this industry starts to mature and people start to look at other means and what, competing chains, I don't see Ethereum. I'm not saying it's going to just completely die, but I don't see Ethereum sticking around in terms of being, for example, a top 10 cryptocurrency. I think it'll be quite, a lot lower than that, because at the end of the day, it's still going to have a user base there because it's, had that mover advantage, that first mover advantage. So it probably will have a loyal fan base in that regard. But I just don't see it. I don't see it long term because there's so many other chains out there now that can do what Ethereum can do on a much better scale and a much cheaper scale, right? It's just ridiculous. And I'm speaking to someone who's used the network, so I'm speaking, from experience, and I'm not just speaking from just trying to big up HBAR or anything like that, because there's other networks that are better than Ethereum too. It's not just HBAR, there's other networks that you can use that's better than Ethereum. But yeah, this is why I'm showing you guys, I do think HBAR can over time surpass Ethereum. I really do, because it just makes sense. It really does. Hedera is just better than Ethereum in every way. like literally every way. So give it time, and yeah, it's gonna just be the obvious choice. Like I really do just believe that. I really do. And so it's good to see this interview, because again, it's like something where you guys can go and watch it for yourselves. You haven't got to just kind of like take my word for it. This is, you know, for people like myself and you guys who are watching, I think you already know this, you know, this is why you watch my channel, but you know, this is just the confirmation. And I do think, you know, give it time. Like, I'm not necessarily saying it will be this bull run, but I do think over time, yeah, I think Hedera could surpass Ethereum. I think that will happen, in my opinion. I can't say for 100% certainty, but I think it will happen. I really do, because, as I say, when the real adoption comes and people are really trying to test out this technology and see what's the most competitive chains and what can really do what, they'll see Ethereum shortcomings. They will. And as you can see here, Arfan has actually said they left from Ethereum, they migrated from Ethereum. And I've heard that numerous times. Like, I've heard about 3 or 4 different companies that have migrated from Ethereum over to Hedera. But even here he says, what we're doing just isn't feasible on other chains. So he's not just talking about Ethereum here. He's saying, you know, for this purpose, Hedera was the one. Hedera was the only one that could pull this off. So again, that says a lot, right? It really does. So yeah, guys, I just think this is the kind of stuff that just shows you with Hedera. It's definitely got that unique selling point, right? It's definitely got something here that will attract the retail and also the businesses, you know, when it comes to this type of use case. So it's all to come, guys. I think there'll be more of this going forward. I think you'll hear of a lot more companies who are migrating from Ethereum over to Hedera. I think it's just a matter of time. I just think you'll see more and more of it. It's just not happening at pace right now, because, you know, the industry's still new and there's not as many companies still here yet. But as bigger adoption comes and more companies are looking around, you know, you can't really have a business where, you know, in a bull run, you're paying gas fees of, you know, like $10, $20, and then, you know, you go into a bear market and then you're paying $2, $3, and, you know, it can literally fluctuate throughout the day. Who wants that? Who wants all that uncertainty? You don't. You want fixed fees, and with, you know, Hedera, it's even fixed in dollars. So it's not even like you've got to think about the currency and how the currency can go up and down in value if it was just HBAR, the token, right? Because the HBAR token can change in value. It's not even that. It's fixed in USD. So, you know, even in dollars, that's exactly what you're paying. So in terms of like doing business forecasts and stuff like that, you know exactly what you're doing. And to be honest with you, it's so cheap anyway. Like, it's so cheap, it's barely going to make any impact. Do you know what I mean? On your business dealing. So, you know, with Ethereum, man, like the gas fees could, like, you know, the amount of taxes that you'll have to do, tax write-offs for like the expenses of the gas fees, it's just ridiculous. So yeah, I thought I'd share this with you. If you guys do want to see it, Hedera have reposted this from All in Crypto, so you can see the clip on here. It's only 1 minute and 58 seconds. So obviously, if you do want to watch the full interview, it's going to be on All in Crypto's YouTube channel. So check it out if you wish to. But, you know, this tells you a lot already, just looking at this interview clip, to be honest with you. It gives you all you need to know in terms of Hedera and its future. So guys, feel free to check it out if you wish to, but just thought I'd share this with you. Thank you very much for watching this. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And hit that bell. Take care.